Heroes, and this is the Eastern Iowa OT.
After 3 weeks, what do we really know about the high school football season? We might think that we've known what we... Gosh dang, these prompters always reversing on me. We might think we know who's for real and who's not. We might think we know who's on a playoff track and whose season is on life support. But the beauty of high school football, no matter how much we think we knew before the season, these teams continue to prove us wrong week after week. Tonight, the end of district play, and next week, a new season begins. We thought this might just be another middle-of-the-road season for Iowa City West, and these are not the logos that we want up there for Iowa City West and Bettendorf, but nevertheless, you're going to see Union and AP later in the show, but the Trojans from Iowa City West say otherwise. Perfect through 3 weeks, each Friday night proving they belong back among the 5A elites. Tonight, the Trojans travel to Tuvel Stadium on the road in Bettendorf, a rematch of last year's first-round playoff game when West stunned the Bulldogs. Also a rematch of the 2017 semis. These teams have got history. West defense getting it done in the first. Ethan Headings in the backfield for the sack. Still making life miserable for the Bulldogs. Neil James on the interception, and he takes it back for a pick six. Iowa City West takes a 7-0 lead, and then it's going to be a steady dose of Juju Manson, the future Hawkeye unable to watch his next team playing tonight. Maybe somebody getting him some sideline updates as he gets his hands on the ball. The Trojans would close out this drive with an Adam Salem field goal. Later in the first half, Reese Wheeler connects with a wide-open Manson, this time for points. That's Juju's first touchdown catch of the season. Wheeler has yet to throw an interception this year, and the Trojans roll to a 20-point win. That is a good-looking team Garrett Hartwig's got this year. Now, we thought we'd seen Liberty at their best a season ago. Au contraire, on the road at Johnston, and Reese Reddick ripping the Band-Aid off for the first touchdown of the night across the goal line for 6. Bolts out to a quick lead after a Johnston field goal. Liberty's marching down the field again and again. It's Reddick. This kid's magic with the ball in his hands. Leads the team in passing and rushing yards. Finds space, and he scrambles to put Liberty ahead 14-3 after one quarter. But Johnston, they pull off the upset on their home field tonight. A 3-point win over number 2 Liberty, so there will be no battle of unbeatens when they face off with Iowa City West next Friday night. Whatever we thought we knew about Kennedy and Linn-Mar coming into the night, we know that whoever loses has a deep hole out of which they must climb. If there's any hope of playoff relevance, just one combined win between the Cougars and Lions entering week 3, a win builds some momentum heading into districts. A loss, and you're really going to need something miraculous to happen over the final five games if you want to spot in the postseason. Kennedy has lost 2 in a row after opening the season with a win. Linn-Mar still looking for that first win under head coach Dwayne Orr, and Kennedy comes out swinging their first offensive drive. William Woodring dials up the deep ball to Thierry Boyd. Great catch, puts the Cougs at the 12-yard line, and they are giving it to Demarion Orr at the goal line. No relation to Dwayne Orr, I'm assuming. Orr rows the boat. The Cougars with a 7-0 lead. Midway through the second quarter, Linn-Mar is lined up to punt in their own end zone, but a low snap has Bradley Duncan Porter running for his life. He just gets out of the end zone to avoid the safety, and that is crucial because the Lion defense bears down, forces a Kennedy field goal attempt. Oh, but Linn-Mar's in there for the block. Brendan Corbett goes untouched for the block, and he's got the ball to midfield. Huge swing for Linn-Mar, and watch how they capitalize. Excuse me, Tate McKeown takes a short dump off. He breaks 2 tackles at the line, then slips through another 2 defenders, and another 3 guys can take him down. What a touchdown on homecoming night to give Linn-Mar a 10-7 lead. But that was their final lead of the night. Kennedy spoils homecoming for a packed stadium at Linn-Mar, and the Cougars pull even at 2-2. Lions still looking for their first win of the season. After 2 weeks, we might have thought Prairie was a rising stock in the 5A polls, but a loss to Bettendorf dropped the Hawks from the top 10 rankings. Lauren Avenatti is in the studio now as the Hawks host the #1 team in Class 5A.
That's right, Owen, and nothing tests a team's character quite like facing the #1 squad in the state. And on homecoming night, the Little Hawks are hoping that extra energy from the crowd can help them rise to the challenge. But across the field, Waukee Northwest came in eyeing a chance to rewrite the record books. And it did not take long for things to heat up. On the opening drive, Mac Heitland airs it deep to Isaiah Oliver, who hauls it in one-handed to put Waukee Northwest on the board. I mean, what a monster play to get the Wolves howling. And from there, they were just running wild. Heitland tossing to Colin Miller, who goes all the way. I mean, look at the motor on that guy. See ya. And speaking of motors, running back Paulo Tobonge was so fast, I could only get the second half of this 60-yard touchdown run. Late in the second quarter, the Little Hawks have a chance to punch in their first touchdown of the game, but it's too little too late. The clock expires and the Wolves continue their domination, winning 45-10. For the first time in school history, Waukee Northwest is 4-0, reminding everyone why they're at the top.
All right, nice job, Lauren. Well, we thought after a 5-4 season, maybe Jeff had turned the corner under Ed Miles, but they're just 1-2, badly needing a win over Urbandale to keep things moving in the right direction. First time these teams have played each other in decades. Slow start by both squads. Urbandale backed up on their own goal line, and they've got nowhere to go. Jayhawks stuffing Jayhawks. A safety for Jeff gives them a 2-0 lead. Now in the second quarter, Urbandale driving, and Jaira Gay has got an opening running down toward the red zone, but Vaughn Sleeper punches the ball loose. Jeff falls on it. Big opportunity for the boys on the west side, but turnabout is fair play. Just a couple plays after the fumble recovery, Vernon Benda goes downfield into double coverage, just picked off by Cade Yeager. And now Urbandale's got momentum. Fourth and goal, Landon Rinnan runs right over a defender for the first touchdown of the night. 8-2 Urbandale at the half. And those road Jayhawks pulling off the win at Kingston tonight, 37-15. They end up with a win over Jefferson. A few more scores to get to in Class 5A. City High on the road in Cedar Falls, the #9 ranked Tigers with a 40-21 win over the Little Hawks. And Pleasant Valley at Dalzell Field in Dubuque with a 40-13 win over Dubuque Hempstead. Dubuque Senior, this is a team to watch out for. They had a lead on that Cedar Falls team last week, ended up losing, but Senior right now 2-2 after they get a 35-7 win over Muscatine. Waterloo West for a moment had the lead over the 4th-ranked team in Class 4A, but Fort Dodge with a 35-14 win over the Wahawks. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we don't know. Who would have guessed Solon will be ranked #1 after 3 weeks? I bet Lucas Stanton did. We'll see if they can take an unblemished record in district play. And our game of the week takes us to Brownfield of Manchester. Is West Delaware more than what we thought? Or will they get humbled at the hands of Waller? Highlights coming after the break.
Fire out, doesn't matter the opponent, right? You have to prove yourself every freaking night. You have to prove yourself. Great teams prove it every night, every Friday night. Hey, let's go!
Before the season, we might have thought Lance Peterson and Clear Creek Amana still had some rebuilding yet to do to be considered a 4A contender, but here are the Clippers hanging with some of the best in Class 4A in the first 4 weeks. This is the Clips' third meeting with a team from the Quad Cities. CCA trying to avoid back-to-back losses early in the first quarter. Conlon pointing at QB. His pass turns into a tip drill. Evan Kuhn dives to make the interception for North Scott. Now they're trying to capitalize. Gage Wagner on the carry, but Dylan Schrock there to collapse the gap for a 3-and-out. Still zeros on the board at the end of the first, but not for long. After marching down the field, Poynton sweeps out, racing towards the end zone. He dives through contact. This kid makes magic happen on a nightly basis. 7-0 Boats lead. But on the ensuing kickoff, Ryan Block is back to receive the kick. This kid gets a couple of huge blocks in front of him, and he takes this one back for 6. CCA would block the extra point, so they've still got a 7-6 lead. The Lancers take advantage with an Evan Cruz touchdown right before the break. He stumbles across the goal line. This game went to overtime down in Tiffin. North Scott narrowly squeaks out a 3-point win, and CCA loses their second straight. A couple more scores in Class 4A. The Mitch Fick Bowl down in Williamsburg. A lot of people watching that Iowa game today down there with 5 combined players from Xavier and Williamsburg on the Hawkeye roster. 45-14, Xavier ends up with that one. Decorah, number 5 in the state, losing their first game of the year to Western Dubuque Bobcats. Watch out for those guys going forward. I can only speak for myself, but before this season, I thought Solon had their work cut out for them in the non-district schedule. 4 games against playoff contenders, 2 of whom had been regulars at the Dome the last 2 seasons, but little did I reckon with what Eli Campman and this Spartan team was capable of. The newly christened number 1 team in the polls, Mitch Fick, is in the studio for the Spartans' final game before district play gets underway next Friday.
They had that Iowa game on the big screen down at Williamsburg, too, so they watched Caden Weegan house that live at the stadium, which is pretty cool. And, doubt Lucas Stanton and his teams at your own risk. Going to your point, though, seemed to stumble here and there early parts of the season with him at the helm, but they always get it together. Benton, though, knocked them off in the regular season a year ago. Then the Spartans got revenge in the playoffs. Solon up 6-0 in the first. Owen, remember I asked you earlier, is that tall 44 kid still at Benton? The tall 44 kid still at Benton, your high jump champ from state, Eli Patterson, with the offering from Carson Nolans. Bobcats up 7-6. Ensuing Spartans possession, Gret Voleski punches it out, and give it up for A.J. Wilson Miles. On the spot, falling on it, big swing for the Bobcats. Next drive goes into the second quarter. Benton makes it hurt. Nolan keeping it this time. Over to the right, through the traffic into the end zone. Benton jumps up 14-6, but Solon gets things swinging late in the half. Benton fumble on the exchange. Cody Milliman jumps on it for one of the Spartans' 5 turnovers forced in this one. First play on offense after that, Campman rewarding the big play with another. EK up to Milliman for a big gainer just outside the pylon. Maddox Kelly's going to finish it off with a touchdown. Solon leads 15-14 at the break. They hang on for a 28-21 win. Benton turned it over driving late inside the Spartan 25. Solon 4-0 now, heading to Fairfield in Week 5. Benton's 2-2, staying at home, hosting Charles City next Friday.
We might have thought that both Wahlert and West Delaware were in for a rebuild. The Hawks graduated a 2,000-yard dual-threat quarterback. Eagles graduated basically everybody from their state championship team. But little did we know this would be one of the best matchups in Week 4. Patrick Smith is in Manchester with 2 teams that do not like each other. Perfect Game of the Week showdown in Week 4.
Thanks, Owen. Our Game of the Week brings us out to Manchester, where a year ago, Wahlert Catholic barely slipped by West Delaware on their road to the state crown. Fast forward to today now. Both squads lost very heavy senior talent, and they were overlooked early on. But if you ask them, there's nothing they enjoy more than playing the underdog role. The beginning of this one is what we expected. Tough-nosed football. Few possessions in. Hawks on there too. QB Austin Schneiders takes it himself to the right and will trot on in. West Delaware offense looking strong out of the gate. To the next possession, to the next play. The kickoff. Back-to-back weeks I've witnessed this. A touchdown followed by a kickoff return. Anderson Herbst mimicking Caden Weegan tonight. Maybe not as well, but still 95 yards to the house. They missed the extra point, so Hawks lead 7-6. Following drive, Hawks moving it down quickly. Schneiders fakes the reverse, rolls left, connects with Tate Mormon. 24 yards, rumbling and stumbling on in. West Delaware up 14-6, and we're starting to go back and forth. Next drive for the Golden Eagles, J.P. Albert looking deep, connects with Josh Olkey. 57 big ones. Wahlert missed another extra point, so it's still a 2-point deficit heading into the break. The third quarter was all punts to start the fourth. Hawks on the 2. Schneiders calls his number again. Powers in, 2-yard score. Golden Eagles down 2 scores, 21-12. And Wahlert on the next drive, only 5 minutes left in the red zone. Ben Francis gets the handoff, will walk on in. The Golden Eagles would get the 2-point conversion, so it's 21-20. All the Hawks need to do is drain the clock, but Schneiders has other plans. He can smell the end zone from their own 33. QB draw once again, and he's gone. 67 yards to the house. It was a night of missed extra points. They missed theirs, so it's a 7-point game. All Wahlert has is 4 minutes. They march all the way down. 4th and 5 from the 5. One last chance. Albert to Herbst. It's dropped. What a finish to this one. The Hawks get their first win over the Golden Eagles since 2021.
Like I just told them in the huddle, just a heck of an effort, man. We got some tough kids here. A lot of kids, like you said yesterday, they waited their turn, and this one didn't go our way last year, and this is definitely one that they wanted back, and they did a great job of coming out and playing hard and competing for 48 minutes.
That game last year, that was a dogfight right there, and we knew coming into this one it was going to be another one, and we just wanted to be on the different side of that, and it felt great.
A 27-20 final from West Delaware. Reporting from Manchester, I'm Patrick Smith for Eastern Iowa OT.
Wow, heck of a game out there. Let's check in on a few more scores from Class 3A. Mount Vernon, after their loss to Solon last week, bouncing back with a 56-0 win over Fort Madison, and Independence continues to climb the polls, entering at number 10 this week, 45-6. They win on the road against Centerpoint Urbana. Well, we definitely know North Lynn's identity as a basketball school, but are the Lynx finding a new place of dominance on the gridiron? A trip to Troy Mills when we come back. And Iowa Valley's Nolan Kriegel is scoring touchdowns at an absurd clip. Marengo Mitch Fick is back in the studio with another offensive exhibition on the 8-man field. That's when we come back.
Discipline, keep the tempo. Come on now.
Be aggressive. Let's go. And on the ball. Focus on the ball. All right. Don't give any freebies.
Oh! 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 Yeah!
Before the season, we might have thought Union was bound for a 7th straight losing season, but all of a sudden the Knights might have something to show us. 3 wins in 3 weeks already matches their win total from last year. They're trying to prove they once again belong. 14 years removed from their last state title, hosted in Appleton-Parkersburg under first-year coach Jeff Pickna, who just picked up his first win last Friday. First quarter, first drive, Union's coming out on fire. Caden Sorensen 50 yards in the air to Levi Hadachek. Takes it another 40 for the touchdown. That's a special last name in LaPorte City. Union leads 7-0. Late first, here's Sorensen making plays again. He forces the fumble, and the Knights are on it for the recovery. Second quarter, still more coming out of the boys in LaPorte City. Capitalizing on that turnover, Garrett Kahlberg runs through a hole, untouched, makes it a 13-0 lead. AP, they do find an answer late in the second quarter. Goal to go from the 2-yard line. Benny Waller keeps it for 6, but Union was not to be denied. 25-7, already have their most wins since 2018. Second year in a row they beat Appleton-Parkersburg. Let's look at some more scores from Class 1A. Grundy Center, I believe that game was 35-0 early in the second quarter. Pick up their 43rd straight win. 49-7, they beat GHV. And Regina, undefeated to start the year, 55-6 over Cardinal. First meeting on record between Northland and Columbus tonight. Lynx really starting to look like something special. 3-0 up to number 5 in Class A. Back at home tonight, and this game was competitive for all about 8 seconds. Northland's opening drive. Will Sommerfeld. This is just his second touchdown pass of the year. McCoy Wynn is a beneficiary, sliding across the goal line for 6, and the Lynx are lighting it up early. Next offensive possession, Sommerfeld on the keeper, slips a pair of tackles at the line of scrimmage. Sommerfeld. Just sit back and unwind to Will Sommerfeld, 69 yards, his 5th rushing score of the year, 16-0 Lynx. Sommerfeld only 139 yards over his first 3 games, but they're really letting him air it out tonight. Doubles his passing touchdown total in the first quarter. Landon Mertens runs this one in for the 3rd score of the evening, and just as the second quarter is underway with the sun setting in the background, Sommerfeld pulls down a high snap from center. The give is to Brody McGrath. He runs it in for the touchdown. 30-0 Lynx. Only a few seniors on this roster. Lynx have a promising future, and the presence looking all right, too. 54-7 win, and they're out to a 4-0 start. Elsewhere in Class A tonight, Maquoketa Valley ranks 7th with a narrow 10-3 win over East Marshall. They've got a matchup coming next week against Wapsie Valley, who tonight beat Midland 54-6. I don't know what anyone else thought, but in this studio, we knew even last year that Nolan Kriegel was something special. So this is a sophomore. The Iowa Valley quarterback scored a combined 60 touchdowns, and entering week 4, he's already almost halfway there again. 27 trips to the end zone entering tonight. Mitch Fick in Marengo this evening to see one of our state's most spectacular talents at work.
And listen, you get some video game numbers in 8-player games, but this kid's something else. 27 scores through 4 games. They played week 0, had 10 last week. He and Iowa Valley looking for more on homecoming tonight in Marengo against HLVTC. Kriegel and the Tigers start on the defense, so the wait to see what he does on offense, it's not long. First drive of the Warriors, Josh Reed all over it for the pick, so Ivy takes over. And on the first play for the Tigers offense, you probably know how this goes. Kriegel up top to an unfortunately blurry Chandler McKibben. We eventually figure out how cameras work after 15-plus years in this. There he is. Tigers take the early lead. Still in the first, Kriegel on the ground this time, heading left and heading in the end zone. Ivy got 2 scores real quick. HLVTC, though, puts together a pretty solid drive and response, but then later in that drive, as they got inside the Tiger 25, Reed all over it again for his second pick of the quarter. They call it a pick, even though there was a little confusion, maybe, even him. No, I had it, sure. Back to the Tigers offense, no confusion there. The kid in the 2 jersey on the ground, you know the drill. He scores several touchdowns, we assume. We don't have the specifics, but you see the score, 70-12. I imagine most of those were his. Tigers 5-0. Head to Winfield Mount Union next Friday. HLVTC back home in week 5, hosting Easton Valley.
All right, some other video game numbers out of 8-man ball tonight. Gladbrook-Rhinebeck, I think that's their 3rd shutout of the year. 63-0, they beat GMG, and Edgewood-Colesburg, 6 in Class 8-man. 46-22, they beat Turkey Valley. We continue to learn more every week, and we know there's one play standing out above the rest tonight. Our play of the week to close out week 4 of Eastern Iowa OT when we come back. After 4 weeks, we do know a little more tonight than we did 4 hours ago. We thought we'd seen some good plays of the week over the first 3 weeks of the season, but this one is something else. Linn-Mar trying to channel a little homecoming magic with a packed stadium. Tate McKeown gets the catch, and there's about 7 Kennedy defenders who get their hands on him, but McKeown is not to be denied. Takes it all the way for the touchdown. That's a kid who is making moves. Linn-Mar came out on the wrong side of this one, getting their homecoming spoiled by the Cougs. But what a way for McKeown to score his second touchdown of the season. That's all for another week of Eastern Iowa OT. Hawkeyes getting a win on the road in Rutgers tonight. We're going to have more college football highlights coming tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I think our only show of the day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Friday night on Eastern Iowa OT.